Hey there, and welcome back into Integrative Health Simplified podcast. My name is Carrie, your host, and I am very excited to be back for episode 6 in season 1. And we are in the series talking all about simple swaps for your regular routine. And I think of these things as just really foundational for your health. And that's why I wanted to start the podcast with these topics. And of course, I could not leave out movement because our body is literally made to move. It's super duper foundational for health and overall well-being. And so I know it's kind of sometimes a hot topic, let's say, of like what exercise is best, like how often should we be exercising, what exercises are good versus bad. Like, I'm not trying to fuel this fire by any means. I want to think about working out from a very realistic way, a doable way, a way that's going to help support our health long term. Because a lot of times exercise is seen as just something we do for a workout program, like X amount of weeks or months. But I really want to think about like, how can we make working out or movement work for us, and not necessarily sometimes it can work against us, right? So that's why I titled this episode, Are Your Workouts Causing More Harm Than Good? Because I truly believe that some can cause more harm than good. So let's just talk about how exercise can hurt your health, because sometimes I don't think we put that connection together as far as I thought all exercise was good. You told me my body was made to move, Carrie. Yes, it definitely is. But sometimes it can actually be working against us. So let's just start there. Let's just dive right in. I don't know any other way to do it. That's just how I roll. So how can exercise work against you? So let's just talk about exercise in a very how is it affecting our body? Of course, we know that there's so many benefits to it, like circulation support. It supports our detoxification system. It can release good endorphins, like all of those things. It can build muscle, obviously. But exercise is a stress on the body. Obviously, it's a good stress most of the time, but it is a stress. And so if you think about the fact that a lot of us are under a lot of stress, and maybe coupled with the fact of we're already under a lot of stress, like mentally, maybe we're under a lot of stress emotionally, maybe we're not eating enough, so that's a physical stress. Maybe we have underlying infections going on, that's another stress. And then we go pile exercise on top of that. Maybe we're doing a really intense exercise 5 or 6 days a week. We're not really getting many rest days in there. We're not really taking into account our cyclical nature of our cycle as women. Like all of those things compounded one on top of the other really kind of makes for a bad situation, because our body sees stress as stress. It doesn't necessarily categorize stress, if you will. And so all of that combined really puts us in this state of fight or flight. And so as you can see, and just as I'm talking about these stressors, you might be going, yep, that's me. Yep, that's me. And so you can sort of understand how our body is like, whoa, I can't really handle much more. And so, yeah, sure, our body can go with the flow for weeks, months, sometimes even years, just depending on the resiliency of our body. Our body is very resilient. However, over time, you will start to see certain things creep up. And what I often see in working with clients, especially women who I primarily work with, it's the hormones, it's the libido, it's the hair falling out, it's I'm exercising, but I just can't get rid of this weight. Like I'm actually gaining weight when I used to be able to maintain or lose weight, and I haven't changed anything. I hear that a lot. So what's happening here is that stress cycle is just steady, right? It's steady, and the exercise really isn't doing I won't say it's not doing any good, but it's just adding to that stress, and there's already a lot going on. And so over time, it really zaps a lot of the energy and the nutrients that maybe we're taking in. Maybe you're like, I'm eating all the good food, but I don't know what to do. And that's because when we're under this state of stress, and this exercise is kind of compounding that, especially when we think about hormones and the stress cycle and all that cortisol that's being released, because our body's like, oh, we need to be in this state of like, I can run away from a tiger, and I can, run away from danger, when that's how our body perceives it, but that's actually not what's happening. And so we're still releasing cortisol, though. That's just the way our body is designed to work. And so whenever we produce cortisol, it actually circumvents hormones. And so that just means that our body is not prioritizing hormonal balance right now. And so over time, you can see how our hormones are just way out of whack if we are having this stress that is prolonged. And so I'm not saying exercise alone will do that. However, think about all the other stressors that I talked about, and you can see how that really can get out of control. And so if you are that person that is working out a lot, a very high intensity, this might be something that you want to consider in just taking more rest days or simply having exercise done smartly around your cycle. Let's take a minute and just think about that, because what I see a lot of times, and I'm going to share a story actually about something that happened to me very recently, and that is whenever we don't think about working with our body in the way that our cycle is monthly and the ebbs and flows of it, I think it can actually add more stress on our body, right? I'm not saying to never do high intensity workouts or to only do yoga and walking all the time. Certainly not. We can mix these things up. We can have a good rhythm of getting that strength training in and maybe doing a little bit more cardio. But I'm going to encourage you to do it really smartly around your cycle and minimize the stress, extra stress that it causes on your body. And so let's talk about what this might look like. And I will definitely put this in the show notes, because I know that, you might be driving or not where you can write this down. And I want you to be able to really curate your workouts around your monthly cycle. And I'm actually going to have a whole series on understanding your cycle better and how you can really work with your cycle. That's going to be a series coming in the future. So keep an eye out for that. But exercise done smartly around your cycle. So in your menstrual phase, it's really important to kind of slow down. This will be when you start your cycle and maybe a few days afterwards, really leaning into low impact, stretching, walking, those types of things to really allow your body that time to go through menstruation and really lessen the stress, because that is more of a stressful time in your cycle. A lot of people really experience bad PMS type symptoms. It's very important to give your body extra support. I'm actually going to have a episode on that as well. But this will be one way that you could do that. So menstrual phase, stretching, low impact, walking. By the way, walking is always a good choice. But next we have the follicular phase. That's kind of between menstruation and ovulation. So the follicular phase, you would actually do well to add in some heavier weights. Strength training is a great thing to do. It's awesome to build muscle that can really help us as we age. It can help us in a lot of different ways. So heavier weights during that follicular phase is a great thing. You can actually add in some cardio during that follicular phase, which cardio, there's definitely mixed reviews on cardio in the holistic world, but adding in some cardio during this phase is the best time to add it in. So around ovulation, if stress isn't too high, you could add in a few more high intensity circuits. This will be a good time if you do like those HIIT workouts to add in a few more around the time that you ovulate. Again, if stress isn't too high. So lastly, we have the luteal phase, and that obviously is when the time in between ovulation and menstruation. And so this is a time, again, where you want to think about lower impact strength training, nothing too intense. Your body is a lot more prone to stress and storing fat hormones. The opportunity to store fat hormones is higher. And so you really want to think about not doing anything too intense during this phase, because if you think about it, a lot of times leading up to when you're going to start your cycle, that week and a half, something like that, can be really a stressful time on your body. A lot of women experience different PMS symptoms during that time. And so you really want to take it easy. That's honestly your body saying, I need more support. I don't need you to pour on more stress. And so just thinking about how you can get a variety of exercise in during a month, but do it really smartly around your cycle is super important. So I want to tell you a little story. So for about the last, I don't know, 2 or 3 years, I have really just been kind of doing whatever workout. Just I would find something on YouTube, I would find something on Instagram and just do it. So no rhyme or reason. So I started learning more about exercising smartly around your cycle, and I was really trying to lean into this. But I guess it was at the beginning of this year, and around late January, I found this program that promised a better looking glute area, and so I was like, "Yes, sign me up." So I've been doing this program, and it has specific, obviously, things that you do Monday through Friday, and there's 5 workouts a week, and it was more that I had been working out, but I really wanted to be invested in it. And so the first month, of course, I didn't want to get off track, and I kind of had forgotten about exercising smartly around your cycle. And I experienced that around when my cycle started. I just had a few more PMS type symptoms that I'm not used to having, and I thought, that's weird. Why? I don't know why I'm having these issues when I don't typically have them. And so I didn't really think anything about it. But I went on to the second month of this program, and around the luteal phase, like after ovulation, I was about a week and a half from starting. I just felt so tired. Like, I just don't want to do these workouts. And it dawned on me, I'm not really working with my cycle right. I'm sticking to this program, yes, which is a good thing. However, I wasn't really listening to my body. And so I was like, nope, it's totally fine. I'm not going to be in that mindset. I'm not going to fall in that trap of, I said I was going to, commit to this program, and now I can't miss a week. I can't miss a workout, etc. And so I wasn't going to listen to that lie. I actually took a week off, and it was the best. I continued to walk during that week, to stretch and all that. But it was so amazing, the difference when I listened to my body versus when I didn't. And so I'm just giving you that example because sometimes maybe in the past you've struggled with sticking to something, and you're like, I'm going to do this word for word, letter for letter, I'm going to stick to this program. However, that can have positive and negative things that come with it. So I just want to encourage you in the fact that it does help so much to do exercise smartly around your cycle, number one. And number two, you're just going to pick right back up where you left. You are not off course. You're not off track. You're not a quitter. You're not any of those things. You're just going to get right back on after. If you're doing a program that, doesn't really work with your cycle, you can still make it work for you. And I promise you're not going to lose out on the benefits of a workout program like that. You're just going to catch right back up. So I think the extreme mentality can really get in our way sometimes when we think about exercise. And so I hope this encourages you in how to do exercise smartly around your cycle, and the fact that, yes, we need movement. Again, walking is always a good choice. I know strength training is really important also, just to build muscle, but you can do these things smartly around your cycle and really help work with your body and not against it. And so I hope this has served you in some way. I really appreciate you guys listening to these episodes in this first series, and just simple swaps for your regular routine. I do think we should be moving our body daily. However, I think we need rest days, and I think we need to work around our cycle to maximize the benefits that exercise can give us. So thank you for listening in to this episode. So thankful to have you here. I would love to just have a conversation around this topic. If you have thoughts or additional questions, you can always reach out to me. Check the description of this video if you're watching YouTube, or if you're listening to the podcast, check the show notes. You can always find ways to connect with me there, and I would love to continue this conversation. See you guys on the next episode.